Good morning, adventurers! We are in Atoka, Oklahoma, where we found a really cool stop off. Now, the road is right over here, so it's a little noisy, but this is a historic park, and it is so cool. There are a few structures here, like this one, and one more right over here, but this was a portion of the Butterfield Stage. And if you aren't familiar with that, then, well, we have a lot of explaining to do. So let's roll the intro and get right to it. The Butterfield Stage trail is something I am kind of familiar with. It runs very close to me when I'm home in Texas, but I didn't know that it came through Atoka. And this right here tells us a little bit more about Butterfield Stage and why it's something and why we should want to know a little bit more. As you can see here, the historic Butterfield Trail was in Indian Territory between 1857 and 1861. The reason for this was that they had received a federal contract to transport mail. The reason I refer to this as the Butterfield Stage Trail is because in the area that I'm from, there's a town called Bridgeport, and they celebrate Butterfield Stage Days because of the stagecoach itself. Inside each one of these buildings, you can go in and check them out when they are open. Right now, not the case. So we have to go off what the history that we can find on the outside is, which is why it's so important to take your time and read the signs. Let me tell you a little bit about this house. This house is known as the Ing House. It was built in 1881 and was right here in Atoka. Now, this was a family home that was relocated to this property at a later date. It has a really interesting history where the parents actually both perished and then someone remained living inside of it for a long time. Creepy, but that's kind of how it worked in the past. You didn't just move out because you had a traumatic experience. Nope, not at all. Now, this cabin was built in 1937 and actually was here in the Atoka area as well. It's still furnished, but you have to look into the creeks. And it's a little spooky to do so because this thing is old. But the historic past of Atoka is present everywhere out here, and we haven't even made it onto the inside area. I don't know if it's opening today, guys. I'm hoping. I'm just hoping. Now, this right here is something that tells us that this also has a burial area, mostly for Confederate soldiers. So bear with me. This is important too. It's good to know a little bit about history. So let's walk on through to back here. Area, we do have a lot of different soldiers that were basically left behind because they were too sick to continue. They were left at the Middle Boggy area, which is not that far in that direction over there. It's a waterway. They all had measles, and at the time there was nothing that they could take to make them get better. There were no vaccinations, none of the things that we have today, and I'm not gonna get us on a soapbox, but that's why vaccinations are important, guys. Anyway, all of these people right here were just basically left because they couldn't carry on. And they all perished in the same year, 1862. So, not all casualties of war always are the ones that we think of. Sometimes it's things like the measles. Okay, so now that we've seen all of that, let's go see if the museum itself is open. I hope it is. If it's not, I mean, it's been a good stop, but that would make it epic. Well, the museum itself is not open until June 1st. So if you're watching this after June 1st, come and see this, because I can only imagine the cool stuff on the inside. There's a few other things around here that we're gonna look at though before we hit the road. Two big school bells, like when they used to actually have to ring the bell instead of just pushing a button. This one is from like 1890, and this one doesn't have a date, but they're both local schools, and that's a really cool piece of history. Up your horses and hitch them up outside. It has been a wonderful, amazing, small roadside stop here in Atoka. I hope that you get out and explore your own surroundings and find cool places like this to enjoy. You never know what you'll find whenever you just pull off at one of those roadside stops or simply go down the road in your own backyard. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure that you leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're interested in finding out more about cool places to go, not only in my area, but yours as well. I travel all over the United States and find some really cool things. You can check out my interactive map in the links below to find out more. Bye guys!